From Team Target. All the best to everybody at iRacing Brazil.
It's going to be Silvestro, and I hope all the iRacers in Brazil are having a lot of fun on iRacing.
Hi, I'm Justin Wilson. Want to say hello to all the iRacers down in Brazil. Hope you have fun, enjoy the racing, take it easy.
Hey, I'm Wyatt Gooden, and iRacing Brazil, awesome league. You guys are great, cool league.
Quero mandar um abraço aí pro pessoal do iRacing Brasil. Continue jogando aí.
Aí galera, eu sou o Hélio Castro Neves, fique ligado no iRacing Brasil. Vamos lá, Brasil!
Vamos lá.
You're watching All Pro Broadcasting with
Freedom Train. Ladies and gentlemen, let me be the first to welcome you to the Peak State's finest, Atlanta Motor Speedway, for tonight's running of the United States Postal Service 200 for the Domino's TYJ Xfinity Series. It's round number 2 here at Atlanta, and Robert, it's going to be a great race here tonight in the Peak State in Georgia. We're in Hampton, Georgia, just outside of Atlanta, and when we came here for the recruitment races, there was a lot of cautions, but that was with drivers on cold tires and not racing each other and not being used to racing each other. I'm expecting a very good and clean race here tonight with these Xfinity cars.
Yes, sir, Gabe. It's good to see you tonight, and you nailed it. We're going to have a lot of great racing tonight. We have a full field of talented drivers that have been handpicked. They've gone through their recruitment races. They've qualified for our league. They've done some practicing on this track in these exact weather conditions, Gabe. It's going to be a great race tonight. We're really looking forward to it.
Qualifying just getting underway right now, and Jeff Martin in the number 15. He's going to be one of the first to take onto the racetrack. He's just coming off the pit road. He's one of 4 local drivers from the state of Georgia. Jeff T. Martin and the driver who practiced right behind him, Nick Reynolds, in the number 10. A few more drivers like Lynn McNeese and Will Davis are also from Georgia. So a couple of hometown guys, including myself up here in the booth. So I'll throw myself in there with them. But it's going to be a good night for Georgia, as we have the top 2 drivers in practice are from the great state. So it's going to be a good night for all around.
That is true, Gabe. And we are also excited, as you did mention, this is the United States Postal Service 200, live on All Pro Broadcasting here at Atlanta Speedway. United States Postal Service delivering more Amazon Prime packages on Sunday than all other U.S. shippers combined. If you ordered something Friday, check your mailbox. You could have it on Sunday afternoon.
Looks like Jeremy Crandall is number 1 on the board right now. He got a little loose coming off of turn number 2 on lap number 2. But right now he's on the pole, so he's going to look for a repeat as he won the pole at Daytona. Unfortunately, did not lead a lap in that entire event, and I believe he finished about top 10 after being caught up in a few accidents. Looks like he's just lost that pole to the number 44, Ray Richer, and now Jeffrey Ford moved into that second spot. And the 018 of Michael Atkins Jr., it's changing hands quickly, as now we have one driver underneath the 28-second bracket. It's David Wright and the number 42 with a 28.974.
Yes, Gabe, these guys are flying around this track tonight. It's going to be incredible the kind of speeds they're going to have. Of course, this surface is very worn. It's one of the oldest surfaces in NASCAR. So these guys are going to probably want 4 Goodyear radials every time they have a pit stop, unless it's a pit strategy near the end of the race. But for these qualifying laps, Gabe, they're almost holding it wide open for 2 laps, and that's how they're getting these fast times.
One thing to look out for, these Xfinity cars are notoriously loose at Atlanta. I'm not sure how the setup is this week, but I think I've seen a few drivers get loose coming off of turn number 2, so that's going to be one thing to look out for. Josh Bonwell, he's on lap number 2 in the number 56 Ford Mustang. He's now on the pole with a 28.953. See if he's going to be faster here on lap number 2 as he comes around turn number 4. He's actually taken 2 laps in qualifying. This is his third. He's just trying to get a little extra practice. So he's going to run around a few laps. These will not count, and he's just trying to run a few laps before the start of tonight's race. 2 more minutes till we get the race started here. He's still on the pole. We've got 32 drivers who have qualified so far. Basically a full field, I believe. It's Robert. Very good participation so far. These spots have been on a first-come, first-served basis for the first few weeks of this season. So it's been a very good recruitment process for you. A little bit of a headache also, but it's good that you don't have any more spots for drivers.
Yes, Gabe. We have over-recruited for our Top Shelf Cup Series. We have over-recruited for our Premier Xfinity Series. We do have a couple of guys taking provisionals tonight. They either have to work late or they've got family members with hospital situations, but we're very fortunate and thankful that we've got a lot of great, talented drivers who have signed up for our series for 2017. It's going to be a fantastic year, Gabe.
Just about 1 more minute here in qualifying, and you got to remember, Robert, is the promotion still going on for the free pizza?
Yes, Gabe, I was about to mention that. One other reason we are becoming more popular every single week, Gabe, we have our free large 3-topping Domino's Pizza dinner. If you accurately pick the winner, how that works, fans, of course, we're happy you're here, fans. If you will text 919-883-7497 before halfway of this race, which, if I'm not mistaken, Gabe, would be around lap 66, 67, the first person to actually pick the winner of this race before halfway will win a free large 3-topping carry-out only pizza from your local Domino's store. Last night we had a truck tryout race, and we had a gentleman win, him and his wife. Gary Whitmer from Virginia and his wife Becky won. They're going to be calling me tomorrow night on their date night for their free pizza. So fans, make sure you're tuning in. Make sure you get those picks in.
Sure, get those picks in before halfway, and qualifying has now concluded. So the red and black flags are now out on the speedway, and Josh Bonwell grabs his first pole of the year in that number 56. He's going to roll it off in that number 1 position. We're going to take a few minutes and let these drivers get on the grid. We're going to roll through your all-pro starting grid here for the Domino's Xfinity Series. It's going to be Josh Bonwell on the pole, as I said, the number 56 with the 28.953. David Wright to the outside of him in that number 42. He's going to start on the outside pole with a 28.974. Judd Danielson in third. Curtis Ayo in fourth, and rounding out your top 5 is William E. Moore in the number 58. Jeff T. Martin, the first of your local Georgia drivers in that number 15, is starting 6th. He practiced in first, but he's going to end up just outside the top 5. In 7th is Kyle Charpentier, one of the young rookies, but really a sensation there. He's been run very well the past few races. He's going to roll off in 7th. Michael Atkins Jr. in 8th. Nick Reynolds is going to roll off in 9th. Ray Richer in 10th is going to complete your top 10.
Starting 11th, we have Eric Stanford. He is a new member of the Domino's TYJ Racing family in that 24. Starting 12th, we have Joe Johnson. He will be in the 83 machine tonight. Starting 13th, we have Gary Sexton. He is also a new up-and-comer. He has already won a tryout race earlier this preseason in the 17. Starting 14th, we have Raymond Vasquez in the 72, all the way from California. Starting 15th, we have Ryan Steinacher, my bad, in the 48. He is one of our veteran drivers. He definitely won a race last year. We also have, starting 16th, Curtis Young in the 94. He is our reigning Dented Fenders Truck champion. Starting 17th, we have Ricky Lake in the 7. Also starting 18th, we have Jack Watts in the 66. 19th tonight, we have Ellery Queen starting in the 62. And starting 20th, we have Rusco in the 420.
Going to get a few more drivers through the grid. Ray Sanders in the 86 start 21st. Jeffrey Ford behind him. James Becky, Tyler Roberts, Lynn McNeese in that number 84. He's going to roll off in 25th. 26th, Dustin Lee. Jeremy Crandall, your pole winner from Daytona, is going to roll off in 27th. Eric Hawk in 28th. 29th is Craig Lerman. Gary Sheldon, Mark McFadden, Mark Fravert also. The rest of your grid will roll off on the top of the screen as they roll down the back straightaway for their one and only pace lap. It's going to be Josh Bonwell leading them to the green. Going down the back straight, it's going to be 134 laps, 200 miles here in the second event of the 2017 season, and it's going to be a good one. We're glad you could join us here in Atlanta for, as I said, race number 2. It's going to be a very competitive race as well, because what we did see in Atlanta was a lot of lead changes in that Cup Series test race, and we're going to see a lot of that here tonight. It's going to be the 56 on the pole and the 42 on the outside. Ford Mustang pace car is going to pull to the inside of the racetrack to the safety of pit road. Race number 2 on the 2017 season is green, 200 miles, and we're going to have a winner, but it's going to be lap number 1. Here they go across the start-finish line. Josh Bonwell gets a good start, and he's going to go off into turn number 1 clear. He's going to have that 85 of Judd Danielson tucked up underneath his back bumper. David Wright in that number 42 gets a bad launch, and he's going to fall back to maybe 5th by the time they get down the back straightaway for the first time.
Yes, Gabe, William Moore in the 58 does get around David Wright in the 42 to move up into that 3rd position as they come through turns 3 and 4. Josh Bonwell looks like he is going to lead them this first lap as they cross the start-finish line.
Lap number 1 is going to go to that 56 of Josh Bonwell, but Judd Danielson looking to take it away from him. First battle on the racetrack between Nick Reynolds and the 42 of David Wright and Kyle Charpentier. Charpentier moving into that 5th spot. Nick Reynolds, he's going to take that open door on the inside, down the back straightaway into turn number 3, and he's going to move into that 6th spot right behind him. Looks like the number 24, Eric Stanford, they're looking to take advantage on the inside. On the inside of Curtis Aho, the first of the 2 Curtises in tonight's field. And that number 38, a new number for him, but he's still that same fast driver. Kyle Charpentier actually moves into 4th last time by as they come across the line to complete lap number 2. They roll into turn number 2, out of turn number 2, into 3. Leader still up front. Still Josh Bonwell. He's pulling just a little bit of a gap between him and Judd Danielson. William E. Moore makes a good start from 5th, now into 3rd. As I said, Kyle Charpentier started 7th and is now into 4th.
Yes, and Gabe, we did see David Wright in the 42 fall back to 6th position here. He is driving that Camaro, and he might be saving his tires this early in the run, Gabe. He's still up front in the top 10, and he's fighting back on the outside right now of Eric Stanford in that 24. As they go into turn 3 and 4, it'll be interesting to see who can get to the start-finish line here in this little battle.
Familiar number and font on the bottom side there with Eric Stanford, and then that number 24 is going to move into 6th. It's your only side-by-side battle through the top 15, really back through the field. Got just a little bit of a race back trying to find who that is. Looks like between Ramon Vasquez and Ray Richer maybe on the outside, trying to find a few of these drivers. It's kind of sorted out now, but back up front, William E. Moore. He's under attack from Kyle Charpentier in the 003. The green car there right behind him. That Toyota Camry chasing down that Ford Mustang, that Air Force Ford Mustang number 58. It's like up front, Judd Danielson, he's trying to work that outside lane, or that middle lane really, through turns 1 and 2, trying to make a little bit of time on Josh Bonwell. It looks like it's working. He's closed it down to about 0.2 of a second, and it's the gap's coming down.
Yes, we have Ford Mustang GT against Chevrolet Camaro SS for positions 1 and 2 here as Josh Bonwell and Judd Danielson are battling it out. Judd is one of our veteran drivers. Josh is one of our new up-and-comers. He's definitely won a couple of tryout races already, and he's looking to get his first win. As a matter of fact, Judd Danielson's looking to get his first win, official points win here in the Domino's CYJ family of leagues.
It's amazing he's raced with this league, but he just has not caught any break. Looks like he's going to the lead here on lap number 7 to the inside. Battle for the lead coming off of turn number 4. Josh Bonwell on the outside, Judd Danielson on the inside. Not going to complete the pass by the time they get to the start-finish line, but going into 1, he's going to look to try and get clear. That outside lane does work. They're in 1 and 2. You're going to have to shove that driver on the inside down, so he cannot use the momentum on the outside. And look at this. It's allowing the 58 of William E. Moore to catch him. So look back there. That third-place driver, he's sniffing that lead if these guys don't get single file here in the next few laps.
Exactly. And right behind him, we have Kyle Charpentier in the 003. He is making a move in his Toyota.
William E. Moore in that 58 trying to find a lane, and Judd Danielson is going to complete the pass for the lead on lap number 9. Took him a few laps to get it done. Looks like we got one slow car. That may be Ramon Vasquez there on the inside. Looks like a lot of damage to the left front of that Corona Chevy SS or Camaro. So he had a little contact maybe with the outside wall, but Judd Danielson, he's getting under attack for that lead. He didn't even have a lap to take advantage of it, because there goes William E. Moore in the number 58, that Ford Mustang. He's going to move into the lead, and that's going to allow Kyle Charpentier on the inside to pass him as well.
Yes, I was just looking at Raymond Vasquez in that 72 Corona. He does have heavy front-end damage. His car is smoking. He's going to be on pit road for quite a while here, Gabe.
Another one of your rookies with some trouble here in the early stages. Kyle Charpentier completes that pass, and looky here, Nick Reynolds in that number 10. He's also trying to complete the pass. He goes around Josh Bonwell. So that lead did not last long for the 56 machine. He's actually going to move outside the top 5 if he's not, if he doesn't pick up the pace. Because now he's got an outside pole sitter, David Wright, right behind him. And here he goes to the inside. In turn number 3 on lap number 11, that 42 is going to jump to the inside and take that 5th spot away from your pole sitter, Josh Bonwell.
Yes, Gabe, as they mix it up front, you can already tell this worn surface here at Atlanta Motor Speedway is definitely wearing the tires on these cars. We're only at lap 12, Gabe. And obviously the pole sitter of Josh Bonwell is losing position after position. He's back to 5th. He might lose another position here to the 24 of Eric Stanford on the outside.
It's like we're hearing the 56 actually hit the wall on the outside. I want to thank the YouTube chat for saying that. Did not catch that during the live portion of this race. Kyle Charpentier being pulled away from by that 58 of William E. Moore. He stayed out front for a few laps now. It's going to go back through the field. We got a side-by-side battle for that 4th spot as David Wright. He's moving back up through the field. Robert, I think you may have been right. That 42 trying to save his tires in the early stages, moved back outside the top 5. Now coming up through the field, now into 4th. As they go into turn number 3, he's going to set his sights on the 85 of Judd Danielson.
Yes, Judd Danielson, the 85, he was driving pretty hard there to get the lead. He might have used up some of his tires. As you just mentioned, David Wright in the 42 is making big gains here as he's going to move past Judd Danielson on the low line here, move himself up into third position, looks like.
One thing about Atlanta, if you get side by side, the drivers behind you are going to catch up quickly. We saw that with William E. Moore, and he was able to get the lead from it. As these drivers race side by side, Kyle Sharpens here in that 003. He's going after win number 1. He has actually caught the 58 of William E. Moore. Looks like we got a little side by side. Going to have to go back to that 5th spot. Nick Reynolds pushed up the racetrack coming off of turn number 4, almost got in the wall, but was able to hang on to it. Still a side by side. Looks like Josh Bonwell holding station there. He's actually stabilized his tire wear maybe, and he's now competitive again after losing that little bit of momentum from hitting that wall. He's to the inside of the 42 of Wright as they go into turn number 3.
Yes, and right behind those drivers, we've got Michael Atkins Jr. in the Liberty University Camaro. He's made some headway here as he's up to 7th position. And again, we do have Eric Stanford in that 24. He is also up to, looks like, going to make a run against Michael Atkins for the 7th position. We got one in the wall.
David Wright in that number 42 machine in the wall. Got a little bit of right side damage now on that Chevy Camaro. It looks like he's going to keep it going out of turn number 2. Tough break for that 42 machine as they come out of turn number 2. But he's going to keep it going, and we're going to remain under green flag here. We've gone almost 20 laps on a green flag. It looks like we have Ryan Steinacker coming down to pit road. Don't know if he's going to try and short pit this or he's having some connection issues maybe, but he's going to pull it down to pit road to the attention of his crews. It looks like he's got a little bit of right side damage on that number 48 machine, so tough break for him. So while we were watching that battle, Kyle Sharpens here was able to get around the 58 of William E. Moore, and he's moved into that lead, and William E. Moore has moved to the outside. He's going to have a freight train below him. Judd Danielson now moves into second. Josh Bonwell is going to follow him. Michael Atkins Jr. and Nick Reynolds are all going to follow suit there on the inside lane.
Gabe, you've heard it before. This is definitely going to be a race, it looks like, of comers and goers. With brand new tires, the fastest guys on the field, they're going to be leading this race or be racing up front. The guys who can take care and manage their car and their equipment are going to come into the pack after 10 or 15 or even 18 laps like we just said. So it's going to be interesting to see, even after pit stops, when all the drivers get brand new rubber, who's going to make some adjustments on their cars, what kind of changes the crew chief's going to call for as far as to get these cars to handle a little bit better for the long run, because it does look like a long run race tonight, Gabe.
Battle for second, Michael Atkins Jr. in the 018 to the inside of Judd Danielson, your old leader from a few laps ago. They go into turn number 3. We got one slow car on the inside. He's going to pull to the apron and get out of the way of the leaders. It's Michael Atkins Jr. in that 018 completes the pass into second. That little battle allowed Kyle Sharpens here in the 003 to pull away to a 1.2 second gap. Looks like the young rookie sensation trying to win his first race of the year and first race of his Domino's career.
Yes, he really made a big splash.
Right, looks like the 17 of Gary Sexton up into the wall off of turn number 2. He got hooked going down the back straightaway. Caution is out.
Yes, while we take a second to get this replay pulled up, we will definitely see that it does look like the 17 of Gary Sexton had a little bit of an issue there.
It's like some hard contact between him and David Wright in the 42 as they came off of turn number 2. Looked like he just got a little bit frustrated maybe and came down into that number 17. Although the sim and the replay may be deceiving me, but looks like he just turned Gary Sexton into the wall, that Oculus Rift machine, into turn number 2 wall down the back straightaway. Tough break, and hopefully he can get that car repaired. We're going to replay it for you one more time as these drivers catch the pace car. Get a second look at it.
Yes, Gabe, it definitely looks like there was some tight racing there. They're going into the corner, and the 42 comes down a tad. The 17 comes up just a tad. They start trading paint there, and once that happens at these speeds at 180 miles an hour, it is on.
It's like these drivers coming down to the attention of their crews. The 003 at Kyle Sharpens here is going to be the first to bring them down. It's like everybody on the lead lap is going to take some tires after this 20 lap green flag run. It's going to be a clogged up pit road. Let's see if that 56 of Josh Bonwell, he can do anything with that number 1 pit stall. And let's see if we have any 2-tire calls, no tires called. It looks like the 38 That's Richard Dix. In that number 36, he's going to actually blow through pit road. We're going to have to look and see where Charpentier going to come out. He's going to win your race off of pit road. 018 of Michael Atkins Jr. is going to follow suit in second. So pretty much the same running order for the top three coming off of pit road. And I believe Eric Stanford's actually picked up maybe a position or two coming off of pit road. So a good pit stop for that 24.
Yeah, it looks like Curtis Young in the 94 also picked up a position or two coming off of pit road, right in front of his good friend Curtis Aho in the 38. As they come off of pit road, Curtis Aho in that Ford Mustang GT.
What'd you say, lap?
Drivers are going to run around the racetrack a few more times. We're planning on taking a commercial break, but we're going to wait a few laps after the green flag running because we want to get as much green flag running in as we can here live. Because it's been some pretty good racing up front, Robert. I'm actually pleasantly surprised. I know I kind of called it, but I wasn't expecting it to be this good. Just drivers coming and going after a few laps. I'm excited to see what the rest of the race holds.
It is definitely going to be interesting. There's some good hard racing there. And with this pit strategy, it'll definitely see what happens with these brand new tires.
As they came across the line that time, we're going to update you with your running order. Looks like Tim Cox stayed out, so he's running order is just a little bit jumbled up, so we're going to have to wait till the next time by. Tim Cox is sitting on the end of pit road. Looks like he was waiting for everybody to go around. Your running order right now as they come off turn number 2 under caution. Kyle Charpentier is your leader. And behind him is the 018 of Michael Atkins Jr. Judd Danielson is now in that third spot. This may not show it here on the running order because we are going to have to cross the start-finish line, but Eric Stanford moves up into that fourth spot, so a good pit stop from him from 6th now moves him into 4th. Your top 5 is going to be Josh Bonwell in the 56. As they come across the start-finish line this time by, the running order will be updated, and we might get the 2 to go, Robert. So hopefully this is going to be a rare sight here under the caution flag behind the pace car because it's been a really good race so far.
It has been, Gabe, and while we do have this quick break, I do want to mention our free pizza giveaway real quick. Again, fans, we do appreciate you being here. If you just joined us, thank you so much. Here at Domino's TYJ Racing on All Pro Broadcasting, this is the only place you can win a large 3-topping pizza if you are successful at picking the winner of this race before halfway, which will be lap 67. If I'm doing my math correctly, at 134 laps, all you have to do, fans, is text 919-883-7497. Say, I pick driver name to win this race. I will get those texts. Also, if you're in the race chat, you can pick at the same time. And after halfway, before the race is over, we will update who is the free winner. You can join the likes of Doug Turner won a few weeks ago. Last night we had a winner, Gary Whitmer and his wife Becky from Virginia. So make sure you get those picks in, fans.
It was actually wrong. We got the 1 to go last time by, so Kyle Charpentier will lead. He will be the first of the 36 lead lap drivers in tonight's 40-car field to take the green flag. He took the lead about lap number 15, and he's held it ever since. Doing a good job in that 0-0-3. Michael Atkins Jr. is going to look to have a better restart than the original outside pole sitter, that number 42. So they're going to come to the outside. That 018 is going to look for a decent restart here. Green flag in the air. He's actually got it. Let's see if iRacing, he beat him to the line, but I think iRacing gives a little bit of leeway. He's going to give up that position going into turn number 1. That's going to allow Judd Danielson. It's a little bit of deja vu here in turn number 1 and 2 because Judd Danielson taking advantage of the outside lane, and he's going to move into the second spot on the bottom side of the racetrack. Eric Stanford, the number 24, is going to follow suit in third. It's going to leave a 3-car breakaway there on the inside. And here comes Curtis Young in the number 94. First time we talked about him tonight, up front in the top 5. They cross the line here on lap number 25. And we got one car slow just a little bit. Maybe it looks like this is the 83 of Joe Johnson. He may have been just giving up a position and letting a driver through.
Yes, Joe Johnson looks like he's settling in here in 8th position, Gabe. He was probably just letting that driver in, kind of taking it easy on this restart so we can get some more green flag racing in.
Hopefully we do see that. A little bit of hard racing between Josh Bonwell and the 018 of Michael Atkins Jr. Curtis Aho on the outside trying to make that outside lane work. Number 83 of Joe Johnson right there. He's going to look to take advantage and move into 7th. They run here under the green flag. Looks like Josh Bonwell making his move on that number 018 as they go into turn number 3. He's got that inside lane. He's got a fender. Like the 018 doesn't shut the door, and he's going to cost him as they go out of turn number 4. Move that 56 into 5th as that cross the line on the lap number 28.
Yes, and at this time, while we are having a green flag run, we are going to step away for just a couple of minutes, fans. We do appreciate you being here. You are watching the United States Postal Service 200 live on All Pro Broadcasting here at Atlanta. United States Postal Service delivering more Amazon Prime packages on Sundays than all other U.S. shippers combined. We will be right back. Make sure you get your picks in. Welcome back, race fans, boys and girls, men and women of all ages, to the Domino's TYJ Racing Family Premier Xfinity Series race, live on All Pro Broadcasting here at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Kyle Charpentier still your leader by 1/10 of a second over the 85 of Judd Danielson as we work lap number 35, under 100 laps to go in the United States Postal Service 200. I'd like to welcome you back in the booth. I'm Gabriel Wood, alongside me, Robert McFarland, Michael D'Amico, pushing the buttons, getting the picture you see to you tonight here on All Pro Broadcasting. It's getting tight up there for the top 3. As I mentioned, Judd Danielson in second. Eric Stanford now working in that 3rd spot right behind him. So it's going to be a good fight for the lead, and we're going to see the same thing we saw in that first run, Robert. Drivers coming and going. We saw the 003 get out to a great lead, and he's now being caught by that number 85.
Yes, and behind him we've also got Eric Stanford has moved his way all the way up to the 3rd position in that 24 Mustang GT. He's having a great run tonight. Josh Bonwell has moved his way back up to 4th position after losing a couple spots there on pit road in his 56. Curtis Young, we mentioned before, is up to 5th position in the 94. And his good friend Curtis Aho is up to 6th. Nick Reynolds in the 10 is up to 7th position. Nick Reynolds won at Atlanta previously. That Camaro is looking good tonight. Joe Johnson is up to 8th position in his Toyota in the 83 machine. And we've got Michael Atkins Jr. and Jeff T. Martin battling right now for 9th and 10th position as they come across diving into turn 1 and 2.
Lap car Chad Payne getting out of the way. He's running the awesome build from Dawsonville Coors Ford Mustang, so a little bit of tribute to the Madman from Georgia. That Bill Elliott, number 9. Jeff T. Martin to the inside of Jeff T. Martin to the inside of Michael Atkins Jr. as they come out of turn number 2. He's going to complete that pass, or he's going to go around him on the outside. And Joe Johnson now in that 9th spot. He's going to try and get around. Looks like Chad Payne just coming out of the pits because now he is coming. And that number 9 machine is going to catch these lead lap drivers. He may have come to pit road as he is I thought he saw he was 1 lap down. He's 5 laps down, so a little bit of trouble on that number 9 machine. He's going to try and salvage what finish he can. These drivers still battle back up front. That gap's kind of stabilizes. 1.5 seconds between the top 2. That gap still stabilized about a car length between the 24 and the 85. I say that. 85 of Judd Danielson loses just a little bit of momentum coming off the 4. That's going to allow Eric Stanford, that number 24 machine, to get to the inside and move into 2nd.
Yes, Gabe, Eric Stanford is one of our newer drivers in that 24 machine. He is the owner of his own small business. He's having a great run tonight. Of course, Judd Danielson looks like, I just noticed Gabe has got some rear end damage on that Domino sponsored Camaro. Not sure where he got that, but he's definitely got some right rear damage, which could hurt him with his rear spoiler.
May affect him, may not, depending on the aerodynamics of here at Atlanta, but it looks like it's not affecting him too much. But he did just get past for that 2nd spot. Up front, Eric Stanford is now caught. Kyle Charpentier in the 003 as they come into turn number 4 here on lap number 42 to complete 42 on to 43. He's going to move to the inside coming onto the tri-oval. May try and make the move going into 1. He looks like he's going to stay in line. He's going to wait for that perfect opportunity to pass. As they come out of turn number 2, let's see what's going to happen here. These two have been really the class of the field. Kyle Charpentier really has, and Judd Danielson, along with Josh Bonwell in the 56, who is in 5th. That lead, it's now his. Eric Stanford moves to the inside going into turn number 3, and he's going to complete the pass coming out of 4.
Yes, I just noticed, Gabe, we've got the 88 of Gary Sheldon has had some issues on the track. He is on pit road with, it looks like, some lengthy repairs. We might be able to get him here in a few minutes for an interview while we're staying green.
That battle for the lead not settling down. Kyle Charpentier still wants to get that lead back as they go into 3s to the back bumper. Going into 3 on that number 24 Red Dog Square D, number 24 Ford Mustang. He's going to slap the wall, going to run it too hard coming out of turn number 4. He's going to slap that wall with that 003. He's going to lose that 2nd spot and maybe 3rd to that number 94 Curtis Young, who's coming up through the field.
Lots of drivers tonight have had issues with that wall. It looks like they get a few laps on these tires and the car starts to push a little bit or get a little bit loose in any event. Sometimes they can save it. Other times they're going to hit the wall. I've seen quite a few cars tonight, Gabe, with some damage.
About 20 laps from halfway, and Robert will remind them just a few more times of the free pizza giveaway.
That is true, Gabe. Get your text in, 919-883-7497. The first person to accurately pick the winner of this race before halfway will win a free large 3-topping pizza from your local Domino's store. Carry out only. We've had several winners over the last few weeks. It is a great giveaway Domino's loves to do here in the Domino's TYJ Racing League. So make sure you get your picks in as soon as you can.
Except everything's calmed down up front, but we've got a huge gaggle of cars. Josh Bondwell in the 56, your pole sitter. Joe Johnson in the number 83. Behind them, the 32 of Dustin Lee. All drivers who ran very well at Daytona, but did not come away with the victory. They're going to look to change that here at Atlanta. Still running inside the top 10, with the exception of Dustin Lee in 11th. But he's going to try and work his way around both these drivers as they're going to run 2 wide going into 3 and out of 4. Hopefully that 56 is going to stay high, and he will coming out of 4. That 32, Dustin Lee, is going to jump to the bottom.
Gabe, I have caught up with Gary Sheldon, that 88 machine, who's got some extensive damage on pit road. Gary Sheldon, this is Robert up in the booth. It looks like you've had some contact out on the track. Tell us exactly what happened and if what your chances are getting back out on the track.
Hey, Robert. Yeah, it's tires kind of started going away there. We got a little loose and slid up into the wall, unfortunately, and I just hate it that I caused a little damage to a couple other guys out there. Very frustrating. Hopefully we'll be back here, not with obviously any chance to win, but at least we'll get on, make some laps, and gain some points, hopefully.
Yes, Gary, that is a good thing to do. We do have a long season here. This is only race number 2 out of 23, so hopefully your crew can get the hammers out, get the damage repaired, get back out there and gain as many points as you can. Thanks a lot and good luck.
All right, thank you, Robert. I appreciate it.
Gary Sheldon, driver of that number 88 machine. Hopefully he can get back on track and make up a few points, because he is going to run for the championship, and it's one thing you need to do is race for points. Back up front, Kyle Sharpens here. That lead is still kind of fizzled out. For that number 24, Eric Stanford. He's that battle for the lead as it's now over a second between the two drivers. Kyle Sharpens here is continuing to lose spots. He's lost one to the 94 Curtis Young, and now the 018 of Michael Atkins Jr. runs around him. So Moose Sharpens here in that 003 into that 5th spot. Behind him is Chad Payne on those new tires. So that's not going to be a factor. So he's going to stay in that 5th spot. He's going to get just a little bit loose coming off of 2, but he's going to keep it under control.
Yes, and I'm following behind him in position number 6. We have Nick Reynolds in that Southeast Motorsports Camaro. He's having a good run tonight. We mentioned Curtis Aho earlier. He's in the 7th position in the Road Trip RV rental, Ford Mustang GT. That's a great looking paint job on his car tonight in the 38. Jeff T. Martin is in the TopGamer.com sponsored Camaro. He's running in 8th position in the 15 Camaro. Behind him we have got Dustin Lee in the 32. He's in the Southeast Motorsports Camaro. That's a good looking blue paint job there. And in 10th, we have Joe Johnson. He is actually the owner of IRAPS, was a sponsor of our first race a couple weeks back at Daytona. Joe Johnson is up to 10th position in that 83 Toyota. He's having another good run tonight.
So we got a battle between those Southeast Motorsports drivers, Jeff T. Martin and Dustin Lee. In that number 32, they got a battle for that 8th spot. It's not going to happen for a few laps as that 15 runs the high side of the racetrack coming out of 4. Right in front of them, talk about Nick Reynolds, a driver from Livonia, Georgia, won Daytona, and he's looking to repeat it here at Atlanta. So that's going to put him in serious contention just out of the gate, winning Daytona. That's a big boost for somebody's championship, because that means you started off the year with some good points and you don't have to use that race as a drop week. If you have a bad race, say at maybe Bristol or maybe even here at Atlanta, you still have that win and you still have those good points.
That is true. I just heard.
I may have just jinxed him, because the 003 of Kyle Sharpens here came down to pit road and had some contact between the 10 of Nick Reynolds and the 003 coming off of 4. Don't know how much damage it did to that driver, but it did slow him down and push him up the racetrack.
Yes, I'm looking at the front of the Southeast Motorsports number 10 of Nick Reynolds. His Camaro looks pretty clean. I think he just lost a little bit of time there.
Hopefully he did, because that would be a shame for his night to end like that. Going to have to look at the 003 of Kyle Sharpens here, see if he's just coming down the pit road to get regular service. Left side drops on that, so he's going to take some tires. It looks like we got the start of green flag pit stops, maybe, Robert. These drivers may be coming down the pit road. They may be on the edge of making it on fuel, or they may just be pulling the 1.5 mile short pit and try and take advantage of the new tires, because he was running in 2nd.
Yes, Nick Reynolds has come down the pit road as well. It does look like this could be the beginning of pit stops here again. Here on lap 56, we've got just a few more laps before halfway, and this would be a great time, like I said, fans, to get your picks in. We've got quite a few picks in already. We've got a few drivers. One has picked Ricky Lake. Another driver has picked Will Davis to win tonight. We've got another driver who has picked Eric Stanford to win. A fan has picked Michael Atkins Jr. to win. Obviously, Thaler Rich, who is Josh Bonwell's mother, has picked him. She picks him every single week, but don't blame her. That's her son. She's very proud of him. We've also got another pick for Nick Reynolds, so it's going to be very interesting to see who's going to win this large three-topping pizza, Gabe.
Somebody also hoping for Nick Reynolds to go for 2 in a row. William E. Moore, he's coming back on the racetrack. He pitted from inside the top 10, I do believe. So your top 10 are starting to come down to pit road. Let's see if Eric Stanford's going to come down this time by. It looks like he's going to pass by pit road. Coming off of turn number 4, he's actually going to slap the wall just a little bit. Ran a little bit too hard there in the final corner, but no damage really on that 24 machine. It's like maybe Curtis Young coming over the radio, coming down the pit road this time by maybe, letting Judd Danielson behind him know that he is going to be low on the racetrack.
Gabe, this is where you really depend on your crew chief to make a call whether to come down pit road early, and here comes the caution.
Caution on the speedway. Going to have to find the cause of it. Looks like Gary Weston slow on the bottom side of the racetrack. Looks like he and Nick Reynolds got into a little bit of contact off in turn number 2. That number 14 machine is going to get spun to the inside of the speedway. And as he slid down, he actually did not spin the car at all, but he was sideways enough to iRacing to trigger the caution. So caution number 2 on the speedway on lap number 59.
Yes, Gabe, I've got this caution pulled up, the replay. It does look like Gary Weston in that 14 was slowing either for a pit stop or for some other reason. And Nick Reynolds just could not get slowed up in time, got right into the back of him. That's what caused this caution.
Well, they were in turn number 2, so I think it was just a little bit of speed difference because Nick Reynolds was on new tires coming up through the field. I'm not sure about Gary Weston's tire situation, but this is going to allow basically your entire top 10 who have not come down the pit road to come and get new tires, and it's going to leave a few drivers off the lead lap. Like drivers like Ellery Queen, Kyle Charpentier, Nick Reynolds are all going to be caught a lap down, or at least they're going to have to take the waiver round, so they cannot take tires. So they're going to have a few lap older tires when we get ready for the restart, and they're going to have to start in the back.
I will have to say Gary Weston did an incredible job of saving that car after the contact. He did not have any other contact, so he'll be able to get into pit road, get that damage beat out on the right rear of his car. He should still be able to come back and make a good finish tonight, Gabe.
Right here under caution. I'm going to see if I can get a hold of Curtis Young, so it'll be just a minute. Robert, I want to leave you on one final thought. We're almost halfway, and we've only had 2 cautions. This is in stark contrast to the recruitment race we had here in Atlanta, where it was basically a wreck fest. So this shows what drivers who know how to race around each other can do.
Yes, and just to remind all the fans out there, this is only our second race with all these drivers working together. We've got some veteran drivers in this field tonight, fans. Some of those drivers include Curtis Aho. We've also got other veteran drivers in here like Lynn McNeese. We've got Mark Fravert. We've got Michael Fravert. We've got Chuck Dix, Ellery Queen, and we have a whole slew of brand new drivers. So in our second race of the season, these drivers are learning how to race around each other, and they're doing an incredible job tonight.
Curtis Young, All-Pro Broadcasting booth, you got a copy?
Yep, I do.
All right, Curtis, you've had some early season luck, maybe up here in Atlanta, a few hundred miles from Daytona. See if you can get win number 1 on the 2017 season. You think it can happen here?
I don't know. There's definitely some pretty fast drivers out here, and it's hard to find speed when you can just flat-foot it at the first part of this run, and so it's hard to tell what guys are doing and if they're really showing their cards or not at this point. But I think a win is possible with a little bit of luck.
Now, from the driver's seat, who's been the most competitive car? Because you've been racing around these guys, you know who's fast, and you know who's just kind of a little bit of a hot lap hero. Who do you think's really in the best spot for a win, other than yourself, of course?
Well, Eric Sanford, he's been up there most of the time if not all the time. And he didn't seem to be slowing down as the laps wore on there. And Judd Danielson, same thing. If the end of the race falls at the right time in the pit cycle, I think he has a really good shot at it too.
It's Curtis Young, driver of the 94. We're going to send him to the restart here on lap number 62. We're going to have a restart here in the next few laps.
Yes, Gabe, that is Curtis Young. He is one of the most talented drivers for our Season 1 of Domino's TYJ Racing. He has been promoted, like we said, out of the Truck Series. He's up into Xfinity in our Top Shelf Cup, looking to make another name for himself with another slew of wins this year. We'll have to see how it pans out for him.
Driver's going to line up for the restart here. We're going to see what Eric Stanford can do on the restart. Lights are out atop the Ford Mustang pace car.
And we are having quite a few cars take the wave round, like we talked about before, that were trapped a lap down. They shouldn't have too many laps on their tires, Gabe. This should be able to get them back, at least on the back of the lead lap cars. And a lot of these are great drivers who just decided to pit a few laps before that caution came out, so they should be okay.
Lap number 67 will be halfway, so just a few laps from counting down the laps now in Atlanta. Remember to get your picks in for that free pizza. Pace car is going to pull down the pit road. Eric Stanford is your leader in that number 24. He's led the most laps here tonight at 0:18, and Michael Atkins Jr. is going to start on the outside yet again here on this second restart. Eric Stanford takes a green flag in the air. Good restart for the 0:18. He's going to get a huge lead. The 24 spins the tires.
Yes, that'll happen sometimes. I'm not sure if he had old tires or he just didn't get a really good start, but he obviously spun the tires there, and the 018 of Michael Atkins Jr. does get a great start.
Drivers racing side by side for that fifth spot. 94, Curtis Young, Dustin Lee on the inside, that outside lane working for that number 94 Chevy Camaro. A little bit of loose there for, looks like Jeff T. Martin, the 15 on the inside of the 56. Keeps it collected. We close out on halfway. The number 94 still working that outside lane. Curtis Young trying to get around the number 24, Eric Stanford, but that's going to allow Michael Atkins Jr. to pull away in that 0:18 for the first time tonight.
And don't look now, Judd Danielson, the 85 Domino's Camaro, is making a move on the inside of Curtis Young in that 94. See if he can make this pass after this corner coming back down. Looks like through the front stretch across the start-finish line. We'll see what happens.
Still going to use that outside lane, trying to get it done. That's going to allow Judd Danielson, like you said, to catch up. But 0:18, he's actually losing momentum. He's going to use that 24. He's going to move low. He's going to move high, trying to block the momentum. See what's going to happen. That's going to allow Eric Stanford on the inside to get around him. So we're going to have a battle for the lead in turn number 3 to the back bumper. Goes the 94, pushing him into 3.
Yes, they're 2 by 2 here battling for the lead as they come back to the start-finish line to complete lap 66. Wow, this is some great battling up front, Gabe. And a little bit further behind them, we've got Josh Bonwell in the 56 Mustang GT. He's making a move up to 5th position. Right behind him, Jeff T. Martin is up to number 6 in that 15 Camaro. We've got almost a blanket over the top 6 cars here as they're fighting here at halfway through the race. Again, fans, if you've got your picks in, congratulations. We will give you an update here in a few minutes, actually by the end of the race, as to who will win that free large 3-topping pizza. We also have Joe Johnson in 7th position. He's in that Toyota. Jack Watts, we haven't mentioned him much. He's in the 66 up to position 8 in that pad-sponsored Camaro. Eric Hawk we haven't talked about. He is up to 9th position in the 20. And we have a caution on the track, Gabe.
Caution is out. Looks like Richard Dixon, the number 21 Junior Motorsports machine, is on the inside of the racetrack. Looks like he spun coming off of turn number 2.
Well, this will change everything with that running order. Those guys, Gabe, who had to take the wave around, they got their lap back. Now they're going to be able to make some pit calls, get back down pit road, get some new tires on their machine, 2 cans of Sunoco racing fuel, and this will definitely make it a race for those guys who had actually been trapped a lap down earlier.
There's some hard contact for Richard Dix there off of turn number 2. While these drivers are riding under caution, we're going to take the advantage and go to commercial for the last time tonight during the green flag running. We're going to be right back for the USPS 200 live here in Atlanta for the Domino's Xfinity Series. We'll be right back.
more than impressive, I have to say. I mean, the track is identical to the real track. I was blown away how realistic it is. Every little bump, every little spray paint, everything is exactly like you were there at the track. It was a great experience. This is a warm-up lap now. Tires to get warmed up on the engine. Breathe a little bit here when you go through that little bump there. And then it's flat pretty much all the way through here, just about. Hard braking. This is the slowest part of the track. And then I've done, I did many races in Formula 3, Formula 2. And then I did the very last race they did there in Group C in 1983 in the 956 Porsche. That's when Beloff got the lap record at the 6:11. I think I was second on the grid with the 6:14 or something, which was, I mean, those cars were awesome around there, of course, like any car is, that speed. And this is the corner of all corners here, the Schwedenkreuz. Flat all the way into it. And then trail brake all the way into the apex here. And hard at it again to get good speed down the hill here. Mega fast down this hill here. Just jump from one apex to the next. Gotta be super precise here. I mean, it's almost exactly like the real thing. So, I mean, it is certainly realistic enough to get past the very, a lot of the initial hurdles you have when you try to learn to drive a race car, So, I mean, I think it's an excellent tool to learn how to race for sure, or learn to drive a car on a racetrack.
Welcome back, fans, to the Domino's TYJ Racing USPS 200 live on All-Pro Broadcasting here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. The United States Postal Service delivering more Amazon Prime packages on Sundays than all other U.S. shippers combined. Welcome back, fans, and Gabe, on that pit stop, we had quite a few guys take advantage of the caution to get 4 brand new Goodyear tires and 2 cans of Sunoco fuel. Looks like the lights are out on the pace car. We're having a whole group of cars taking the wave round here this time, Gabe. Looks like Ray Sanders, William E. Moore, Michael Fravert, Mark McFadden are all taking the wave round. That'll put them back on the lead lap, hopefully. And it does look like we're going to have, for the restart, Curtis Young has moved his way all the way up to the first position here. This will be the first chance to get to see Curtis on a restart with the lead here. He's going to take the inside lane, it looks like, for the restart. On his outside, we've got Judd Danielson in the 85 Camaro. We got Eric Stanford will be restarting in 3rd position. He's in that Ford Mustang. And on his outside, we have the 15 of Jeff T. Martin. Starting 4th, looks like 5th, we have Josh Bonwell in the Mustang. Starting in the 56 car. Starting 6th on this restart, looks like we're going to have Michael Atkins Jr. He was up there at the front for the last couple restarts, but he's back here in 6th now. See what kind of moves he can make. The pace car dives down pit road as we go back green.
Good restart for the 94 Curtis Young as they come to the line. The 85 of Judd Danielson on the outside. This is going to be the first time he's going to have to deal with that top side of the racetrack tonight. To come in, a little bit of contact between the 54 and the 24 as they go into turn number 1, and that's going to allow a little bit of a breakup of your top 5. Judd Danielson moves into the 3rd spot. Eric Stanford from the 24 moves into 2nd.
And Eric Stanford's got a great run on Curtis Young in the 94. Can't quite get around him here as they come back to the stripe. Looks like Curtis Young will lead, I think, his first laps of the race under green flag conditions as he crosses the stripe.
Lap number 73 goes to the 94 as they come by the start-finish line. The 24 of Eric Stanford has been your leader for almost half of tonight's race. He's going to try and get that number 24 back up front as soon as possible. Outside lane is going to be 85 of Judd Danielson, trying to make it work as they go into 3.
They're definitely dicing it up here. It does look like Eric Stanford will clear Judd Danielson coming out of turn 4 as they scream down the front stretch here, crossing the start-finish line to complete lap number 74.
All right, man, caution is out.
We have a caution here. It's like Mark Fravert on the front straightaway. It's going to get spun to the outside wall in the tri-oval. It's like
these guys.
He's getting involved. He got a little bit loose coming into the tri-oval. Ends up collecting the 78 of Donald Stewart. It's like just those two drivers, or Cal Sharp's here in the 9 of Chad Payne. It's like Chuck Dix in the number 99, the USPS car, also gets caught up in that wreck as well.
Yes, Gabe, I got the replay up right now. It does look like the 18 of Mark Fravert. He gets a little bit loose coming off that corner. He corrects the car, kind of overcorrects the car. And obviously, Donald Stewart in the Haviland Texaco Camaro had nowhere to go.
Tough break for all these drivers, just trying to make it to the end of tonight's race. They were running outside the top 15, just trying to make it work. But they end up bringing out caution number 3.
Yes, Gabe, as this race gets further and further, the guys are getting a little bit more antsy to gain positions. They still have a long ways to go here. And it definitely looks like this is going to change things for the drivers. It'll be interesting to see, Gabe, if the leaders who just had pit stops, we're talking the Curtis Young, some of these other leaders up front, Judd Danielson, Eric Stanford, Josh Bonwell, Jeff T. Martin. Will these guys come back down pit road? They've only been on these fresh tires, I think, 3, maybe 4 laps. It's going to be a pit strategy call. If we go green from here, you probably want to get fresh tires. But there's no way to know what's going to happen. I would predict some of these guys will be monkey see, monkey do. If the leader comes down pit road, they're all going to follow him. So we'll have to watch Curtis Young and see what he's going to do here. I'll try to get some radio communications and find out what he's thinking, although I'm not sure I can get any information at all. Do have a lucky dog going around, and we're going to have a restart here. Looks like on lap 80 with a good 50 laps to go, which will be right outside the window to make it here to the end of the race if we stay green. And we did have a long green flag run at the beginning. So it'll be interesting to see what they do here, Gabe. If the leader comes down pit road, I expect everybody to follow him.
Looks like driver's going to try. It looks like they're all hugging that inside lane, so we may see all your lead lap drivers, at least the top 10, top 15, come down to pit road. It's only been a few laps since the last restart, so you may see drivers toward the rear of the field try and make up some positions. And all that gets thrown out the window because not a single car comes down pit road. Looks like we had a few drivers taking advantage. Going to have to see who that is. A couple of cars on pit road.
Yes, I've got Ray Sanders in the 86 is coming down pit road in that snap-on Camaro.
Just a few drivers taking advantage coming down pit road. Looks like Mark McFadden as well. So drivers off of the lead lap coming to pit road, just trying to get a little bit of damage fixed and try and maintain what position they do have here past the halfway point. I want to give you a quick rundown of the field because we missed that during the halfway. Curtis Young is your leader. He just led the last few laps. Eric Stanford's led a majority of tonight's race after a little bit of a dust-up between everybody trying to get the lead. We got a couple of leaders early in tonight's race. He has now been your leader for about maybe 50 laps or so. Judd Danielson in the 3rd spot. In the number 85, Josh Bonwell is still in that number 4 position with a little bit of damage on the right side. So it's like, and he did start on the pole, so he's got a fast car, and he's still got a shot at winning this thing in that 4th spot. Jeff T. Martin in 5th. Joe Johnson in that 6th spot. Dustin Lee in 7th. Craig Lerman in 8th. Nick Reynolds in the number 10. If you're a winner from Daytona, trying to go for a repeat, had a little bit of damage, ended up getting caught in a wreck with Gary Weston a couple laps ago. Both those drivers have recovered. He is now in 9th. Curtis Aho in the 38 in 10th. Jeffrey Ford in the number 11 spot in that number 95. And we're talking about Gary Weston. Did a very good job, as Robert said, during that caution for Gary Weston's K&N car crash. He did a very good job of not hitting anything, and that's what he gets for it. He's now he's now knocking on the door of the top 10, so he's doing very well in that number 14 machine. Gary Sexton in 13th. Michael Atkins Jr. 14th, and Ray Richard rounds out your top 15. And we're now going to be doubled up for the restart.
Yes, real quick, David Wright has made a smart move back up to 16th. Lynn McNeese in 17th for the restart. William Davis in 18th. Ellery Queen up to 19th. Ricky Lakes up to 20th.
Curtis Young started in the 16th position. He's one of your big movers. Also, Dustin Lee started 26th, is now in 7th. And Craig Lerman in the number 77 started 29th. And he is going to be running in the 8th spot. 4th row outside, that number 77. For the third time tonight, that pace car is going to pull down the pit road off of a restart. We're going to get the race back underway here on lap number 80. Just about 54 laps to go here at Atlanta. It's going to be a good conclusion of tonight's race. Here they come to the start-finish line. Curtis Young is your leader, and he's going to lead them to the start-finish line. But a good restart from the 24 on the outside. We haven't seen that top side work all night off the restart. Let's see if he can do it this time. Looks like he's not going to. He's going to have to chase the car up the racetrack coming off of 2.
Yes, Gabe, we've seen that every single restart tonight. For some reason, that outside lane just doesn't have as much grip, and the second place car usually loses at least 1 position, maybe 2, but it looks like Eric Stanford is doing a great job here. He might fall back to 3rd, but that's still not too bad on the restart.
Car's starting to get warmed up here. The crossover. The 85 of Judd Danielson had that position coming off of 4, but it looked like the 24 was going to try to make that move, but he ends up holding off on it. And that little hesitation is going to allow the 56 of Josh Bonwell to catch up to him, so he's going to try and get that podium spot. Meanwhile, he's getting pushed by Jeff T. Martin in the 15. We may not be at Daytona, but these guys don't know it because there were a little bit of bump draft down the back straightaway into 3.
Yes, you got to be very, very careful here at Atlanta doing that, but obviously these are some very great guys. And back up the lead, we got a battle for the lead here.
Battle for the lead inside lane. 85 of Judd Danielson going for that top spot, going after win number 1 of his Domino's career. Curtis Young opposite him. He's going after what seems like win number 30 or 40 because he is one of the more dominant drivers in the league. But right now he's being overpowered and moves that into second. 85 of Judd Danielson now moves into the top spot. That Domino's machine is now up front yet again.
Gabe, I want to ask you a quick question. The leader of this race here at this mile-and-a-half track at Atlanta, do they get the benefit of the clean air being out front, or does it not make that much difference if you're second right behind the leader?
Well, what really matters here, especially here at Atlanta, is if, we saw Curtis Young right there. It was a perfect example. The 85 got around him, but the 94 was able to keep his momentum going and was able to fight for that lead down the back straightaway. Unfortunately, not able to get side by side with him going into 3, but the biggest part of it is if second place has a third place driver to race. If those second and third place drivers start racing each other, we've seen it all night, just like the 15 and the 56 are doing, Josh Bonwell and Jeff T. Martin. That's allowing these top 2 drivers to pull away. That's one of the biggest factors. I mean, the draft really comes into it once a driver pulls away by about maybe a second. But for these short little runs right here, side-by-side racing is what's going to save the leader.
Exactly, and I can almost bet you this, Gabe. Some of these drivers a little bit further back in the top 10. And we've got another caution on the track.
Another caution. Looks like 2 of the Georgia drivers getting involved. The 84 of Lynn McNeese and the 011 of William Davis. Going to get collected there in turn number 2. So it's going to bring out caution number 4 on tonight. It's like the 011 got a little bit loose going into 1, trying to make the move on the 84. Looks like the 84, Lynn McNeese, actually hit the wall going into 1 on the entry. As that 011 pulled to the inside, he pulled it just a little bit too hard and ends up getting loose. 84 comes down the racetrack, collects them. A few more drivers involved. Looks like the 62 at Ellery Queen.
Yes, I'm looking at that replay. That's exactly what happened. Once he got into the wall, pulled it off the wall, he just got loose, was not able to correct it. Obviously, he's losing a lot of speed. And the 011 of William Davis had nowhere to go. Again, 2 Georgia drivers getting together a little closer than they want to be tonight.
It kind of breaks my heart a little bit.
Yes, and then unfortunately, the 62 of Ellery Queen gets involved. He's one of our veteran drivers who is only racing in this series for 2017. He's going to have some heavy damage as well. So
drivers coming down the pit road. Judd Danielson's going to be the first to lead them down. They're going to come to the attention of their crews. Now that Josh Bonwell is just a little bit closer to the lead, is that going to affect him, that first pit stall? Is he going to be able to make up a few positions and get back to the front for the first time in what has been probably about 70 laps?
I'm thinking he's been racing easy for the middle section of this race. He's shown us a lot of talent so far in the preseason, Gabe. He led a couple of laps here earlier in the race. Would not surprise me at all if he has not learned how to manage his tires better for the end of these races to actually pull off a win in a points-paying race.
Side by side for that first spot, I think. Yep, Judd Danielson ended up beating him off pit road, so Curtis Young is going to maintain in second, Josh Bonwell in third. So Jeff T. Martin, he's going to lose a lot of positions, going to move down, maybe outside the top 10. It's like as well as Joe Johnson, maybe. So some bad pit stops for a few of your leaders.
Yeah, it looks like quite a few of these drivers are going to be on pit road for quite a while getting damage repaired. You just heard radio communications from the 84 of Lynn McNeese. He's definitely going to be on pit road. He's got his crew guys out there with the hammers. They got a right front clip, left rear clip, trying to get the fenders beat out of this with some bare bond. It's going to be a long rest of the night for him, but he did have a good race so far.
So come by the start-finish line. Let's see what your running order is going to be. Judd Danielson, of course, in the lead. Got a few drivers in front of him. Looks like Chuck Dix and Richard Dix in the number 91 or 99 and 21. They're going to try and get the wave around, as well as Mark McFadden and Mark Favorite. Of course, Mark Favorite was involved in your caution there on the front straightaway. These drivers are going to try and get back at least one of their laps before we go back racing. Updated running order, the Judd Danielson machine in 85. He is in first. Curtis Young in second. Josh Barnwell in third. David Wright in fourth. And Joe Johnson's going to move into fifth. Looks like Jeff T. Martin rolls down into eighth. Right behind him is, we skipped a few drivers. Dustin Lee in the number 6 spot. Eric Stanford in seventh. And then you got the two of the Southeast Motorsports drivers, Nick Reynolds and Jeff T. Martin in 8th and 9th. It's going to be a hard race for Jeff Martin because he was up in about 3rd or 4th there before that caution. So he's got a fast car. He's just got a lot of drivers to work through.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see on this restart what he can do. Again, when you got 4 fresh Goodyear tires, anything can happen here. Looks like a little bit further back in the starting lineup here, we're going to have Joe Johnson starting 5th. Joe is driving that Steel Series Toyota. Dustin Lee will be restarting 6th, it looks like, as these cars take the wave around in front of the pace car. Eric Stanford will be restarting 7th in the Red Dog Ford Mustang GT, that 24. Jeff T. Martin in the 15. He'll be restarting 8th in that ATopGamers.com Chevrolet Camaro. Of course, we got Nick Reynolds and Southeast Motorsports Over the Top Paints and Design sponsored Camaro starting 9th. And we have Curtis Aho is back in 10th for this restart. He is in that Road Trip RVRental.com Mustang GT. We got a lot of Fords in the race, a lot of Chevrolets, a lot of Toyotas. This is going to be a great restart, Gabe.
It's going to be a great restart, and for the first time in what seems like forever, Judd Danielson will be your leader. Curtis Young on the outside. So that's pretty much going to guarantee Judd Danielson leading into turn number 1, as we have not seen that outside lane work all night. Shouldn't expect anything different. Lap number 90 is going to be underway when they come back to the green flag. And there it is, underway here on restart number 4.
And Judd gets a great launch there. Sorry about that, Gabe. But Curtis Young is...
Judd Danielson goes into 1. Robert, we're just stepping all over each other. It's a good race up front. Everybody wants to cover it. Looks like that 94 has actually gotten a better restart than some of the guys. He's actually going to move into 3rd. Looks like he's going to have some clear track behind him, maybe to pull in. He's going to cut the nose off of the 83 of Joe Johnson as they go into turn number 3. Top 4 single file, top 5 now single file as they come out of 4.
And I want to give a quick shout out to the 42 of David Wright. He was involved in a caution. It seems like about 40, 50, 60 laps ago, he's moved his way all the way back up into 7th position in that Domino-sponsored Camaro. He might have something to say with the end of this race before it's over, Gabe.
Josh Bonwell moves up the racetrack, and that allows Curtis Young and now Joe Johnson around him for the second and third spots. So move Josh Bonwell in the 56 down to fourth as they go into turn number 3. Eric Stanford, that number 24, holding station in fifth. He started 11th and is now running inside the top 5. Has been your leader for about 50 laps at tonight's race, so he's been really your most dominant car. But once he's moved outside that lead, that dirty air is not doing that number 24 justice. Behind him, Nick Reynolds, as we've said before, your winner from Daytona. He's now got 2 of his teammates behind him, Dustin Lee and Nick Reynolds, in 6th and 7th, or 7th and 8th.
A little bit further back, we have got Jeffrey Ford in position 11. He's in that 95 Jeffrey Ford Racing sponsored Ford Mustang GT. Behind him, we talk
racing with those guys. Robert, I want to talk about this race because it's going to heat up here, because we've seen like Craig Lerman in that outside lane. There goes Jeffrey Ford around.
He almost saves it. Oh, he gets tagged again.
Caution still now out on the speedway. We're going to remain under green. These drivers wrecked below the start or below the yellow line. So drivers like Jeffrey Ford, they're going to be out of luck as they come out of turn number 2. There's like maybe just a little bit of net code between him and the 018 of Michael Atkins Jr. as they came into 1. That is unfortunate for drivers who are running up front.
It definitely looks like what happened there, just a racing deal. Unfortunately for Jeffrey Ford, we were just talking about him. He was having a great run, got turned around. Obviously, hopefully he'll be able to maintain and still get some points out of this finish.
Closing in on lap number 100, Judd Danielson still your leader, putting it on and showing up for the Domino's admins. Trying to go after win number 1. Right behind him, Curtis Young going after what seems like, as I said before, one of his many wins in the Domino's series. Drivers racing side by side. Look behind him, Joe Johnson blocking that bottom side of the racetrack from the 56 of Josh Bonwell.
Yes, Josh Bonwell has definitely been racing a clean race tonight. We've got some other drivers here in the top 10. Looks like Jeff T. Martin just moved up to the 6th position. He's having a great run. Curtis Aho's got a little bit of rear end damage on that 38 Ford Mustang, but he has definitely moved himself up to 7th position. Dustin Lee, we haven't talked about much. He's up to 8th position in the 32 Camaro. Again, David Wright is still maintaining a top 10 position. If he gets a top 10 out of this one after what happened earlier in that caution, that will be a great success for David Wright.
Change for your top 10 position. The 77 of Craig Lerman gets around Nick Reynolds in that number 10 machine as they come off of turn number 2. It changed hands at the start-finish line. So up from 29th starting position into the top 10 goes Craig Lerman in that 77. As you said, right in front of them is the 42 of David Wright. He has made one of the biggest recoveries of the race. Started second, fell down outside the top 30 after being wrecked, or after getting in a wreck with Gary Sexton in the number 17. Right in front of him, Dustin Lee in the number 32. It's like while we were talking, Curtis Young ended up getting around the 85 of Judd Danielson, moving him into the lead on lap number 98. He's going to run that top side down to the bottom in turn number 3. And that little race allowed Josh Bonwell in the 56 to catch him just a little bit. And Joe Johnson in that number 4 spot in that 83 moves down in the clutches of the 24 for Eric Stanford going into 1. It's like he's going to move for that lead, Robert. They come out of turn number 2. Eric Stanford in the 24 is going to try and go for that 4th spot. Looks like Jeff T. Martin may try and follow suit as that door opens. Going into turn number 3, he's going to push up the racetrack just a little bit. May not be able to complete the pass. The 24 does, coming off the 4. But we're going to have to wait and see if the 15 can as well.
Yes, these drivers are definitely mixing it up here, Gabe, in the top 10. These guys are trying to position themselves for a great finish, and I'm still not convinced they're not going to have to come down pit road one more time for some more fuel.
Yeah, we've seen about 30 or 40 laps, I do believe, between pit stops, so we're going to have to wait and see. We did have a green flag stretch where we did start to see pit stops, but it kind of got broken up by a caution, so we're going to have to wait and see if these guys can make it. One lap number 100, so 100 laps down, 34 to go here at Atlanta, and going for the lead yet again, 85 of Judd Danielson going into 1.
Yes, it looks like Judd Danielson and Curtis Young are playing follow the leader. I'll lead a few laps. I'll let you lead a few laps. Not sure what these guys are doing. They're not teammates. Yes, sir. They're not really teammates. They are veteran drivers in our Domino's TYJ Racing family, and it is good to see them both running hard and running clean up front.
Curtis going for the lead yet again. Technically, showing on the scoring monitor, he never lost it, but they switch hands twice during that lap. The 85 gets it off of 2, and the 94 gets it back coming off of 4. This side-by-side action's allowing these guys, really, I wouldn't think about it, but they pulled away from the rest of the top 7. 4th through 7th are running single file a little bit farther back, and these top 3 are pulling away with Josh Bonwell pulling up or playing caboose on this little 3-car train. Coming off of turn number 4, the 94 is going to be clear for that lead for the first time in a few laps. And so these guys are going to go back to running single file, but Judd Danielson looks like he's really faster behind another driver, so if he can just stay right tucked up underneath him and wait for the perfect opportunity again, he can get that lead back.
Exactly. He's just waiting to pick his perfect time to make a move on the 94. It could be right here as they're going into looks like turn 3 and 4. Judd is getting a great run on Curtis Young in the 94. I'm not sure he'll be able to clear him good in the front stretch as they get to the start-finish line. Curtis Young will lead another lap here.
He's running that outside lane on the tri-oval, trying to make the race track as wide as possible, not turn the steering wheel as much, and try and get as much speed as he can, trying to go after that number 94. That Camaro is in the lead. He's got the battle of the bow ties up front, the 94 and the 85 behind them, the Mustang of Josh Bonwell in the 56, your pole sitter. It's got to be just a little bit disheartening to know you have the fastest car theoretically, but watching the 2 drivers you raced all night pull away from you side by side.
Yes, Gabe, I have had a little bit of luck in having something to do with the prediction on these type of scenarios where we have a long green flag run a couple of times, and it looks like could be happening again tonight. The 56 of Josh Bonwell would not surprise me at all if he is saving his stuff for the last 25 laps of this run. He's maintaining 3rd position. He knows where the leaders are. He's letting them use their equipment up. If Josh Bonwell comes out of here and wins this race, that'll be exactly what he's doing right now, just saving his stuff for the end of the race.
And you know his mother in the chat is going to go absolutely crazy. She supports him every week here in the Domino Series, and we're not going to see that dip off any throughout 2017. So we know that 56 has got fans, and we know that 94 has got enemies because everybody hates a winner. So it'd be kind of refreshing to see maybe that 85 of Judd Danielson. I'd like to see him get the victory, but it may not happen as that 94, Curtis Young's pulling away.
It looks like most everybody else is nose to tail here in the top 10. We got quite a few cars with some damage. I want to mention Kyle Charpentier in the 003. He's all the way back in 28th position. He definitely has damage. He was leading or coming close to leading some of the race earlier tonight. He is one of our up-and-comers, but looks like tonight he's going to just have to settle for the best finish he can get. He's obviously lost some speed as he's getting passed now by Jeremy Crandall for the 24th and 23rd position. But these guys are still sticking it out to get as many points as they can because we do have a long season ahead of us.
Drivers still out front. Curtis Young in that 239hockey.net Chevy Camaro. A little bit of a race for as he's just going to work his way around the number 86. I believe that's Ray Sanders. But a little bit of race around him for that maybe 3rd or 4th spot. Josh Bonwell getting under attack from that 24 of Eric Stanford as they come out of turn number 4.
Yes, and Eric Stanford is taking it to the low line as they cross the start-finish line. He's going to try to take over that 3rd position. It's going to be side-by-side as they go through turns 1 and 2. And Josh Bonwell, as Eric Stanford gets on the apron just a tad, loses a tad of momentum. It's Mustang against Mustang as they scream down the backstretch.
Battle of the blue ovals on the back straightaway here on lap number 109. Going to be 15 laps to go next time by. As they come to the stripe, it's lap number 110. Looks like the 99 of Chuck Dix coming down the pit road in that number 99 USPS car. A tough night for the main sponsor driver. That Chuck Dix machine still side by side for the 3rd spot as the top 2 drivers pull away. Eric Stanford trying to get in that podium spot, but Joe Johnson's going to have something to say about that coming down the back straightaway. Here comes a Toyota to break up the blue oval party.
And Joe Johnson has no problem at all taking that 4th position away from Eric Stanford, as now he's got his sights set on Josh Bonwell in that 56. We'll see if Joe Johnson can't make a move to the front of this race before it's all over with about 22 laps to go.
That IRAP Steel Series Toyota Camry working his way up to the front in that 4th position. Started in 12th, practiced in 20th. So he's picked up a lot of time from the initial parts of tonight's race weekend. And Eric Stanford, he's now under attack from the 38 and the 32. Dustin Lee and Curtis Aho, they're side by side, but they're still catching Eric Stanford in that 24.
Yes, it definitely looks like there's going to be some action up here in the top 5. These guys are, like I said, battling for every position they can get, and I am sure this is going to heat up even further down as we got about, looks like right at 20 laps to go here, 21.
Going to be 28 laps to go in just a few laps here, closing stages of tonight's race. Been one of the cleaner events on the 2017 season so far throughout the recruitment races, especially from here at Atlanta in the Cup Series recruitment race. As I said before, I mentioned it multiple times, but it's been very amazing to see these drivers recover from what was really a horrible race for this league. We're now seeing what these guys can do. That battle for the lead might be shaping up because it was 0.8 of a second last time by. It's now 6.5 when they crossed the stripe last time by. So we may see Judd Danielson run down the number 94 for the lead.
And Gabe, I'm still not sure these guys can make it all the way on fuel. It's going to be very interesting to see who's got to come down pit road for a splash of Sunoco Racing fuel. And I just heard off of Team Communications, the 94 is coming down pit road this time. This will really be interesting to see if Judd Danielson will have to follow him down. I'm sure he's going to have to get some fuel himself.
If Judd Danielson was smart, he'd adjust his strategy and come down the pit road because he cannot afford to let that number 94 get away with new tires, and he does not. Looks like the only person who's going to follow him is Dustin Lee in the 32, and a little bit of brake lockup from the 94 as they come down the pit road. Jeff Martin also following them down to the pit road. Judd Danielson in the 85 remains your leader. 7/10 behind him is the 83 of Joe Johnson. Josh Bonwell in 4th. Now gets up into the wall coming off of turn number 2. He's going to slap it hard. He's going to ride the wall coming into turn number 3. So he rode the wall for basically the entire back straightaway. He's going to slow it down, get out of everybody's way, and he's going to come down to pit road now.
Yes, Gabe, I covered that pit stop with Curtis Young. He did come down pit road. He got 4 brand new Goodyear radials and 2 cans of Sunoco fuel. He's coming back out on the track now, and that early pit stop could be monkey see, monkey do. I'm thinking Curtis Young is probably going to be the benefactor by pitting a lap earlier than Judd Danielson. We have to see how this plays out.
Will Judd Danielson take 2 tires? That might be the call. Let's see what's going to happen if anybody's going to gamble taking 2. Right side's going to jack up on him. Looks like the 018 is going to leave pit road. So Michael Atkins Jr., he's going to take the gamble. Also Eric Stanford. 4 tires for the 85 and 4 tires for Josh Bonwell. This is going to get interesting, Robert. 2 different pit strategies working against each other.
Yes, and I think I just saw...
Oh, the 15's in the wall. Jeff T. Martin slides up the racetrack.
He's able to keep it off the racing groove. Caution is out.
Going to get the replay up for you. That's Jeff T. Martin in the number 15 machine. Looks like the same thing we've seen a couple of times. Going into turn number 1, just getting loose. Trying to work his way around Craig Lerman in the number 77. Gets loose, overcorrects it. Ends up sliding into the wall. Almost had it saved, but that apron sent him back around. Comes up the racetrack just enough for iRacing to trigger the caution.
Yes, the 15 definitely got that thing spun. He was able to keep it just barely off the racing groove, but far enough up. Looks like Gabe, that the caution did come out. Robert, this will change everything.
This changes everything. I was just about to say that because we've got under 20 laps to go when we get the green flag. And we've got drivers like Curtis Young, Michael Atkins Jr., Curtis Aho, Josh Bonwell, Judd Danielson, Eric Stanford. Everybody who's led a lap tonight trapped a lap down. So they're going to be able to get back on the lead lap here when they, with a wave around, but they cannot pit. So they're going to be stuck behind about 9 drivers who are coming down the pit road now who are still in the lead lap. Drivers like Joe Johnson was your leader. Nick Reynolds, Craig Lerman, James Sumbecki in the number 1 machine. Hadn't talked about him in that Bass Pro Shops Camaro. Michael Fravor also hadn't talked about him in that City Chevrolet Toyota Camry. All right, that's a weird choice of manufacturers.
Yeah, some of these guys are going to come back down pit road perhaps. We all know that the 4 tires, fresh rubber on this track is definitely something you want to have. Some of the guys are going to gamble and stay out. It'll be really interesting, Gabe, to see what kind of strategy is going to play out here for the last 15 laps.
Oh, this is bad for drivers like the 018 of Michael Atkins Jr. because they took 2 tires, and drivers like Curtis Young and Josh Bonwell, they're on 4. So this is going to get very interesting here in the next few laps when we get back underway. Gonna have to wait and see. Looks like Nick Reynolds is going to take a little bit of extra time coming off of pit road. May have gotten a little bit of damage as well as William E. Moore. And look at the 95 of Jeffrey Ford up front, going from wrecking in turn number 2 to now up inside the top 5.
Wow, that is interesting. We do have a lot of players up front that looks like they might be able to have a great finish. Yes, Jeffrey Ford was involved in the spin earlier when the caution did not come out. He is up to 4th position. Craig Learman, we talked about him earlier. He's in that United States Marine Corps sponsored 77. He's having a great run up to 5th place. James Somke in the number 1 is up to 6 here. Michael Fravert, hadn't talked about him much in the 36. He's up to 7th. Ricky Lake is up to 8th in the 7. So this does change up the running order quite a bit.
Across the start finish line, wow, the number 95 of Jeffrey Ford is your leader. So maybe he's staying out. I'm not sure if he had come down pit road yet, but that's going to put the 83 of Joe Johnson in 2nd. But this has really messed up the running order. And Robert, I'm liking this. This is going to make the finish interesting.
Yeah, I tell you what, the race to the end here is really going to be very interesting. It's going to be whoever can maintain with the tires they've got on their vehicle, and the guys that were trapped a lap down getting the wave around, they're going to be trying to fight through the field here for these last few laps to see what happens.
Just remember, we may not be done with cautions. I know we hate to say that, but with drivers on new tires coming up through the field and fast drivers coming up through the field, cautions might be inevitable. So we're going to have to wait and see. We should get the one to go this time by. The rest of your lap down drivers are going to ride behind the pace car. Drivers like Judd Danielson, Josh Bonwell, they're all going to get the wave around. We're going to have to wait and see. Lights are out atop the pace car. So there goes those drivers. Dustin Lee is going to be the first of them. Behind him, Curtis Young, Curtis Aho, Jack Watts, Judd Danielson, Josh Bonwell, David Wright, and Ray Richer in number 44. Jeffrey Ford will be your leader. So this is going to be the first time he's led laps here tonight. And he's got a lot of damage on that number 83, so we're going to have to wait and see if he's going to be at all competitive as they come around and take the green flag.
Yes, Jeffrey Ford has got a little bit of damage on the left rear. Hopefully that won't slow him down too much.
Waiting to see if we can get the running order sorted out because we have a little bit of a hold up behind the pace car. I think drivers didn't realize that they were getting the wave around, but they have now sorted out. So we've got the drivers lined up behind the pace car. With that 95 lagging at back just a little bit. But we're now all sorted out, ready to finish tonight's race, closing in on 10 laps to go, under 15 to go. So it's going to be a very interesting race to the finish. Number 95 of Jeffrey Ford is your leader. The 83 of Joe Johnson on the outside. Pace car is going to pull to the safety of pit road. Number 95 is going to be your leader.
Yes, he got a great jump. Sorry about that, Gabe.
I was just going to say, you got a great restart.
And this definitely mixed up the running order.
Going to have to keep an eye on drivers like Dustin Lee. Curtis Young, big wreck on the back straightaway. Curtis Young is involved.
And the pace car is back on the track.
Caution is out on the speedway. It's like Curtis Young involved also. Number 42 machine, Ray Richer also. Just another wreck, and as I said, drivers get involved here. A wreck trying to work their way through the field.
Yeah, this is going to definitely give a lot of drivers damage here.
Going to get the replay up for you. It looks like I'm seeing the 21 machine of Richard Dix. He was a little bit slow there, and Jeremy Crandall in the number 73. He had to check up, and that ended up according the 32 of Dustin Lee into the 94 of Curtis Young, and that ended up being a little stack up there. Just a big wreck, and yeah, I didn't even see Jeremy Crandall get involved, but he does, along with the 58 of William E. Moore.
Yeah, that was very, very, very interesting there. And we are having the last restart is under review. We will be with that determination in just a couple of minutes as we talk to the NASCAR officials.
We're going to let Robert take care of that, so I'm going to take you on a little bit of a run through the field. Jeffrey Ford is your leader for the time being. That restart is under review. Craig Lerman goes into the second spot. We're going to see if we can get a hold of a few of these drivers. Maybe, just maybe, Nick Reynolds in the number 10. See if we can get a hold of him. Nick Reynolds, All Pro Broadcasting Network booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, what's going on, man?
All right, you won last week at Daytona, or excuse me, a few weeks ago at Daytona, and now you're going for win number 2. You're in that third spot, or excuse me, you're in that 6th spot on the outside lane. You think you can get it done?
I don't know, man. This is home track for us. We sure are going to try, but I know I got a little damage up there on the nose from a lap kart earlier. I hope so. I'm going to try all I got. We'll see what happens.
So right here, what has been your impression here of the race here tonight? Because it's been a very clean race for the first half of the night, and then the intensity kind of got ratcheted up the past few laps.
Yeah, I think we started getting there towards the end. Everybody started getting a little impatient. It was go time. So, but it's been a good race. I've passed a lot of cars now. I've been to the back, to the front, to the back, and now we're back up here at the front when it's time to go. So maybe we can do something.
All right, Nick, I'm not supposed to be biased here, but I may be pulling for you in that number 10. Get it done for the boys from Georgia.
Hey, man, thank you. No problem, buddy. We'll try, definitely.
Nick Reynolds in the number 10.
Yes, Gabe. It definitely looks like that last restart. We had a whole mixed up restart. We had guys that had stayed out, that were technically in front of the leaders. So when the green flag came out, some of these cars actually were in front of the leaders for the restart. A little bit confusing for some of the leaders as far as how that works, but when the cars stayed out, they did not take the wave around, and they were able to be the first ones to the start-finish line. Unfortunately, we had that caution there, but it's going to stack everybody up for about a 10-lap shootout here, Gabe.
But at least with that caution, we do get the running order sorted out. So that's one good thing about a little bit of a quick caution. We get a redo, basically. And that's going to, you got to feel for Joe Johnson, because now he's on the inside lane. He's in a good position. He's got a slower car in front of him, or at least we think so. Number 95 could surprise us here, but he's got a faster car, he thinks, than the leader of that number 95. So we may see a little bit of side-by-side racing, maybe going into one if he can get a good restart.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be the most exciting restart we've seen. And with only a handful of laps to go, it's going to be really interesting to see if these drivers are going to be able to maintain control of their car, maintain control of their tempers, and who's going to get the win here at Atlanta tonight, Gabe.
17 drivers on the lead lap. The last driver on the lead lap is William E. Moore in the number 17. He's now catching up to the rear of the field. Your top 5, Jeffrey Ford in the number 95, Craig Lerman in the number 77, Joe Johnson, James Sumbicki, and Michael Favorite round out your top 5. Nick Reynolds in 6th, Michael Atkins Jr. in 7th, Ricky Lake, Russ Cohen, Curtis Young involved in that caution. He's still in your top 10. It's going to be a fun and interesting restart. Remember, we get inside 5 laps to go. iRacing does not have a system to throw a green-white checker, so we get inside 5 laps to go. The race is over with. That's how long it takes to cycle through a yellow flag. So inside 5 laps to go, that pretty much is your caution at the white flag. We're going to run the rest of the race under caution, but we're not going to see that caution come out. We're going to see these drivers like Jeffrey Ford and Craig Lerman race for the lead. Here they come to the start-finish line. Hopefully the final restart of the night. Good restart yet again for the 95 of Jeffrey Ford. The 77 slow on the outside. The number 1 pokes to the outside, trying to get the little bit of a momentum. But the 83 of Joe Johnson, he's going to take that inside lane going into 1, into 2, and down the back straightaway. He's going to go for the lead.
Yes, Joe Johnson's getting a great run on the back straightaway. It looks like he is probably going to clear and make his way into the lead position. I'm not sure if Joe has led any laps tonight, but he is doing a great job.
I believe this is the first laps led for that number 83 machine. Also, as well, this is the highest that 77 of Craig Lerman has been all night. And look at Michael Favorite in that number 36. a car that has been beat up and thrown around all night. He's now into the third spot around the number 1 of James Sombecki.
Yes, this is definitely getting interesting here.
Like here comes Nick Reynolds on the outside.
Yes, Nick's trying to make a move on the 36. He might be able to clear that City Motors to the inside here as he's coming down to the start-finish line. Actually, excuse me, going into turn 1 and 2. He does make the pass.
James Sombecki in the number 1 machine, running down your leaders, your top 3. Joe Johnson, Craig Lerman. As I said, James Sombecki in the number 1 Bass Pro Camaro. They're going to race it out for the win. Closing in, we are now inside. 5 laps to go, so if we get a caution, the race is over. So one thing these drivers are going to have to remember. Joe Johnson trying to pull away now. Drivers on new tires. Dustin Lee in the number 32. He's up to 6th. Josh Bonwell, he's up to 7th, but they're going to run out of time. Behind him, Ray Richard, number 44, side by side. Ricky Lake and Jeff T. Martin is running that outside lane. He is a lap down. He's the first car 1 lap down, trying to work his way up through the field, but it's 4-0. We're not going to get another caution here, or it's not going to matter. They cross the line, lap number 131. 3 laps to go next time by. We're closing in on the finish. It took 200 miles to figure out the winner, and it's still not decided just yet. Craig Lerman closing into the back bumper of the 83 of Joe Johnson. So they go down the back straightaway.
Yes, the 77 Marine Corps sponsored Camaro of Craig Lerman is definitely making some headway on Joe Johnson. Both of these drivers are hungry for their first win. You cannot count out James Somke. He's got a win from last year, our first season, and that number 1 Arctic Cat Camaro. This is really going to be a great show coming to the line here with about 2 more laps to go, Gabe.
2 laps to go next time by. Somke going for that 2nd spot as they go into turn number 3. I thought he was going to try and go for it. Did not have the run going to complete the pass or to even get side by side with him. 0.3 of a second the gap. Popsicle sticks in the air. 2 laps to go for the 83 of Joe Johnson.
He is maintaining that lead on the 77, looks like, of Craig Lerman. And right behind him, James Somke is trying everything he can do to get up to get 2nd position. Don't think he's going to have enough.
Top 3 single file. Top 4 for that matter is Nick Reynolds in 4th. 1 second back. Here they come off of turn 4 for the second to last time. Joe Johnson taking the white flag here at Atlanta. Lap number 134. He's got 1.5 miles to his first career win in the Domino's TYJ Xfinity Series. Coming off of turn number 2, onto the back straightaway where the old grandstand used to be, but it's still the same Atlanta. It's still the same Georgia racetrack that's always been here. Going into turn number 3, the history. All the prestige of Atlanta. He didn't get the job done at Daytona, but coming off of 4, Joe Johnson gets career win number 1 in the IRAPS number 83.
Congratulations to Joe Johnson there. Craig Lerman finishes career best 2nd position. James Somke comes home 3rd. Wow, that was a great finish there.
Great finish. All your drivers with best career finishes, except for the number 1 machine, of course, but still a great finish for him. Your top 2 get your best career finishes. James Somke starts off 2017 with another good finish. Nick Reynolds in 4th, Dustin Lee in 5th. As these drivers pull into victory lane and on the pit road, we're going to go to commercial really quickly and get your top 3 finishers for a interview. We'll be right back here on the All Pro Broadcasting Network.
You're watching All Pro Broadcasting with
Freedom Train.
Welcome back, race fans, to the United States Postal Service 200 at Atlanta Motor Speedway on All Pro Broadcasting. At the conclusion of our race, Gabe, we had an exciting finish there. Looks like we have caught up with two of our top three finishers, excuse me.
Caught up in Atlanta's victory lane, Joe Johnson pulls it in for the first time in his Domino's career. That number 83 didn't have the race in Daytona you wanted, but you bring the IRAPS Toyota Camry in the victory lane. Congratulations.
Hey, man, we sure do appreciate it. Thank y'all.
You win number 1 here at Atlanta. You had to be pretty surprised after that caution came out, the trapping a lot of the faster drivers a lap down. You made the right decision to stay out during the green flag pit stops, and it ends up getting you the victory. Did you kind of feel a little bit excited whenever that caution came out?
Well, we were just trying to, save the tires and plan our fuel strategy. I knew Judd was a lot faster, and for it to fall our way, we just were glad it did.
Now, we got to know, whenever you're running for a championship, Daytona's kind of really a crapshoot. You don't know if you're going to get a good finish or not. You didn't come away with the best finish. I remember you getting caught up in a wreck, but it's got to pretty much equal out here at Atlanta with a win. So you've got a pretty good start on the 2017 championship run.
Yeah, Daytona, it's always a crapshoot. You don't know whatever's going to happen. You're just kind of at the mercy of everybody else. But, our goal was just to get back on top after that bad finish we had. So we're glad to be here tonight.
All right, Joe, you come away with win number 1. Who got you here? Crew members, sponsors, and we know you got a proud business you want to promote.
Not really. We do. We got IRAPS. That's facebook.com/IRAPS. We do a lot of custom paint schemes. You can check that out. But other than that, man, we're just glad to be part of the Domino's TYJ Racing family, and we're glad to put this Toyota Camry in victory lane tonight.
That is Joe Johnson, your winner at Atlanta. I'm going to try and find Craig Lerman, your number 77 driver who finished second, but in the meantime, we're going to talk to your third-place driver, Jim Somke, in the number 1 machine. Robert's caught up with him.
Yes, how you doing tonight, James Somke? Great performance tonight. You started all the way back, it looks like, in 23rd, brought it home 3rd place. How did you do that, James? What was the difference tonight?
It was a lot of good racing out there. It wasn't just all my driving. A lot of the drivers, they would see me coming up behind them. They would give me room on the high side, let me run my line on the bottom side. I had some practice earlier with teammates and Hit the Pace Car Racing. That's Mark Fravert and Mike Fravert. They definitely helped me get around this track. And while I'm here, I definitely want to put a shout out to Domino's TYJ Racing. They put a great show on for everybody. Really had a lot of fun.
Yes, James, we're excited you're part of our second season. You were a part of the season number 1 with Domino's TYJ Racing. I remember back when we first did our telephone interview, you had been a big part of what we're doing. Who would you like to give a shout out tonight for your great finish here in 3rd place?
I got to definitely shout out for my wife for giving me the time to get down here and race, and definitely my teammates, HTPC Racing. They definitely help encourage me to keep at this.
That's great, James. Again, we appreciate you being here. We look forward to a great season. We know you and your 2 teammates always partner up. You usually have great finishes, especially on the plate tracks, but especially here tonight. You cannot predict what your team is going to do this year, and we're very excited about it. You have a good night, James.
Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone.
We've now caught up with your 2nd place driver, Craig Lerman. He brings that 77 home in the 2nd spot. Congratulations.
Hey, Joe, thank you. Great race. A lot of action tonight.
Yeah, you ran around the back half of the top 10 pretty much the entire race, and I asked Joe Johnson the same question. Your face kind of had to light up whenever you saw basically the entire top half of the field get caught a lap down.
Yeah, a lot of hard work to get up front there. It started way back and battled along. It was interesting, ran with a lot of guys and groups. Very exciting race.
bringing home in second. Do you think, I know you finished just about 3/10 behind him, if you had a few more laps or if you had a shorter run to the finish, do you think you could have caught that 83?
Yeah, he was fast. He just kept pulling away little by little. I was trying, but couldn't find that speed I needed to close the gap.
Well, either way, Greg, you end up coming home in second. It's a good points day, and if you can't win, you may as well get all the points you can, and you did do that in that number 77 machine. Want to congratulate you on your win one more, or your second place finish one more time. Any sponsors, crew you want to thank before we let you go?
No, not at this time. I have to get out there and find one, but I appreciate you doing the broadcasting. Very exciting to watch, and thank you for your time.
No problem, Craig, and congratulations again. And one more driver I want to interview really quick is your points leader, Nick Reynolds. He's one of the more consistent drivers this year, got the win at Daytona, and now comes home in fourth. Congratulations on another good run.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Well, Nick, you had a pretty tough race because you, like you said, under the caution there when we contacted you, you got in a little bit of a tussle with a lap car, Gary Weston in the number 14, and ended up spinning him off your front bumper. It really just looked like an innocent accident, but we really thought that pretty much ruined your race, but you end up recovering.
Yeah, the car wasn't bad. It had a little right front splitter damage. I know it was right there with 2 to go. I really started catching the lead guys. I was wishing there was 5 more to go instead of 2. I don't know if we would have had a shot at anything for the win, but we definitely could have pulled off a top 3, I think. I'd like to give a shout out to Mitchell Reeves. He was on the box tonight. He called a good race. Everybody from Southeast Motorsports, maybe we can keep this momentum going into the next race and do something there.
Yep, Nick, hopefully in 2 weeks you can pick up the win. Tonight you get a good points day yet again. Come home with the points lead. Congratulations.
Thank you. Well, not too shabby in the, I think I'm too bad in the points in the A car neither. We'll be here next week too.
See what you can do. You've already got a little bit of practice in Atlanta, so may be able to come away with a victory. We'll see what happens.
Maybe so. Home track. I'd like to do it, sir.
All right. Send it up to Robert for to better close out the broadcast. Final thoughts.
No problem, Nick. Yeah, thanks, Gabe. It's been a very exciting race. I was able to determine, looking over the text messages, we do have a winner of the large 3-topping Domino's pizza. It is Tom Jefferson from Charlotte, North Carolina. He picked in earlier in the race Joe Johnson. I guess he thought that Toyota machine looked good earlier in the race. So Tom Jefferson will win the large 3-topping Domino's carry-out only pizza for this weekend. That's 2 of them we're giving away. Like we said, Domino's loves doing this promotion. We love our fans. We love you to invite your friends and family to tune in and watch. We will be right back here next Thursday night for our Top Shelf Cup race here at Atlanta. It's going to be another exciting race with some hand-picked, talented drivers, Gabe. Tonight was great. We did have some cautions, but we had some great battling there in the beginning of the race and at the end of the race. And like you just said, Nick's got a great point lead, and he's doing good in the Top Shelf Cup Series as well.
Yep, and as Robert said, we will be back here in Atlanta next Thursday, and hopefully you'll join us. On behalf of me, Gabriel Wood, Robert McFarland, and Michael D'Amico, getting the picture you see to you tonight. This is the All Pro Broadcasting Network, giving you the United States Postal Service 200 live from Atlanta. We'll see you next week right back here with the Top Shelf Lead. Thank you for joining us, and good night.
Another day on the job, a man, his man, and their guns, holding off the enemy for 3 hot days in the desert sun. The decision he made, his men on the ground.
Smithley, driver the number 0, JD Motorsports Chevrolet, and you're watching All Pro Broadcasting.